Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I am, Iqbalul Amin. Here I would like to analyze about this article. The title of the article is "The Use of Community Language Learning Method Increase the Student Participation in Classroom Conversation." And here, this is the name of the writer, and below that there is the email of the article. Okay, the next is abstract. Yeah, this is the abstract of the article. What is an abstract? Readers typically decide whether or not to read a paper based on their impression of the abstract. Consequently, the abstract can be the most important part of your report. A good abstract summarizes the complete report content, including less one sentence per section. Purpose, technical approach, results, and conclusion. In other words, what did Van give numerical result of measurements? Okay, and then the format of the article is the abstract for journal article should be single paragraph of about 115 words, a typical lecture, and typically the abstract is placed on its own page before the first page of the report. In the interest of saving paper, however, journal article introduction can immediately follow the abstract on the same page. And the tip, and the next is the introduction. The next is the introduction. The introduction of report is organized as funnel that begins with definition of why the experiment is being performed and ends with specific statement of research reports. In published journal articles, there are at least two citations required in the introduction that support the need for research and experiments, or so you want which there is experiment release. Make sure to include at least two citations. The length of the introduction should typically be about half page or 103 paragraph. And the next is the methods or research methodology and research procedure. And research methodology methods are description of the important steps of the experimentally approach. These sections describe what you did and consequently are written in past tense. Your approach is organized by intellectual topic, in contrast to the lab instruction, where the methods are explained chronologically, relevant heading and subheadings to orient your readers to approach. For a journal article should provide enough detail for readers to able to repeat an experiment. Okay, and next is discussion. Here there is a discussion. In this discussion, the writer decided to become two cycle, and then there is first cycle and there is second cycle. Okay, discussion. This section is the most intellectually important part of paper. When presenting your data, think first about your research and what does that mean, or what does that mean. When presenting your data, remember to only use figures to illustrate most important points and matching figures appropriately to dataset. Once summarize the key data points, we can analyze finding. This discussion requires the most of us writer. We can really show our personal intellectual take on where experience ended up. And the result discussion section is also the opportune place to discuss any problem or limitation encountered while performing the experiment and how this problem affected the uncertainty in our experimental results. Okay, and the last is conclusion. Conclusion. What is a conclusion? In conclusion, we summarize our findings and explain the implication of our works, including hard numbers with uncertainty estimates. Conclusions contain no new data or findings. We may also include recommendation for improvement to operator or method or suggestion for future research on the subject hand. Format. A final paragraph of the discussion section can serve as our conclusion. We may, however, want to include a conclusion and recommendation for future work in separate section. The separate section does not exceed 1 until 2 paragraphs in the list. Included new data and pitfall to avoid including new data extending 1 until 2 paragraph, slowly reporting major finding without adding significance or implication to those findings. And the last is there's reference that we took from other references or other article journal. Okay, that's all about this video. I hope this video can be useful or other and for so the last I say assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.